Hello, this is Ricky MacMillan for Equestrian Life. Today is day 2, London 2012 Olympics, the second day of the team dressage, the Grand Prix test. We're in for a really exciting day. We've got the medal favourites, we've got our final Australian team member. We're really looking forward to perhaps taking the 6th or 7th place in the team's event and getting our riders through to the Grand Prix special. Well, we've already seen the first half. First into the arena this morning in bright sunshine was Tina Conyett and Collecto for the US. Tina competed in Kentucky at the World Championships 2 years ago, and I think the test today was better all around. She would have been really happy, I think, with a over 70% score, 70.486. The music again, absolutely super. The organisers preparing the music for Tina, it was Broadway show tunes. The horse here has a real highlight in Piaffe and Passage. There was a small loss of balance in the extended trot, and perhaps could sit even more in the canter. The right pirouette in particular getting a little large, could have been more centred, but overall a good performance. The 14-year-old stallion by Comeback 2, Danish-bred stallion. Next in, for Sweden, Tinny Wilhelmsson, riding Don Aurelio, the 10-year-old Don Davidoff gelding. Quite a young horse to Grand Prix with a lot of talent, a really exciting horse for the future. Today, unfortunately, a mistake in the two-time changes. Passage, very good, really expressive front leg, also in the extended trot work. Just a few little problems. The halt could have been more under before the rein back. Nonetheless, a good score of 74.271, so looking good for Sweden. Then for Austria, Renata Vogelsang, riding the 13-year-old Florestan stallion Fabriano, competing for Austria, 2 individuals rather than a full team. Renata, with the Austrian colours in her stock, the red, white and red, did a good test. The Passage, again a highlight, although he could take more weight behind, have even more energy and engagement for a more uphill frame. Still a score of 69.635. Then came Valentina Truppa, an individual for Italy, riding Arimo del Castagno. Bred in Italy by Ro Diamont out of a Weltmeier mother. Valentina making her debut in Olympic competition, having been very successful in young riders. She's a 26-year-old. It was a wonderful test. We scarcely recognised Valentina, being used to seeing her in her Carabinieri uniform, today wearing a normal tailcoat with a lovely yellow collar, Laura Piano, and looking really great. Piaffe Passage and transitions a highlight. The walk to Passage transition, an absolute highlight. I doubt that we'll see a better walk Passage competition test in the whole competition. A little bit changing balance in the second Piaffe, but he's really elastic horse and ridden with great precision. I particularly like the canter pirouettes as well. A score of 75.798. Then for Poland, Beata Stremler and Martini, of great interest to Australians because Poland is one of the teams that we're looking to be placed ahead of at the end of the team Grand Prix competition. Martini is a very attractive, light-footed horse, an 11-year-old Polish warmblood, scored 69.422. Beata looking perhaps a little more different. We're starting to see colours come into the dressage uniform. She had red and white piping on her tails and also across the chest of her jacket. And I think a few more buttons than usual with 8 buttons. So we're seeing a little bit more variation. Are we going to see more in the future? Martini has very expressive half pass in trot and extended trot. Today the Piaffe was a little forward. Unfortunately, mistakes in both the 2s and 1-time changes, and the pirouettes were a little large. Then next for France, Jessica Michel with Rivera, the 11-year-old Veltit 2 mare, trained by Jessica Michel, who works for Harris de Huys, and with help from Hans-Heinrich Meyer-Sustroen. Great performance, a very attractive combination, new to Grand Prix, and I'm sure they'll develop further. The Passage is quite a highlight, really impressive, but just small mistakes with transitions. The mare was a little tight today in the piaffe. The walk passage transition a little disturbed. The piaffe was a little forward, just minor things. So a score of 70.4. Then Edward Gale. Of course, at these Olympics, a couple of years ago, we were thinking Edward Gale would be riding totalist, as he did to win the gold medal at the World Equestrian Games in Kentucky, but it wasn't to be. So here he was riding for Holland on undercover, an 11-year-old Ferro gelding. Edward did a characteristically expert job. There were some tension. The horse was a little tight over his back. Nonetheless, very expressive half passes. The piaffe and passage of high quality, the piaffe perhaps a little forward. The horse overreacting in the passage to canter transition. The canter trot could have been more fluent as well, and the horse coming back from extended trot was sometimes could have been a little more smooth. There was some variation in the scores, but nonetheless a good result for Edward, 75.395, and that contributing to the Dutch team result, the Dutch looking good at this point for the bronze medal. Then with the first pause, and it started to rain, but by the time we started again, after the first 7 horses, beginning the next 6, the rain cleared, the sun was coming out again. Into the arena was Richard Davidson riding Artemis, a 13-year-old Floristan gelding. Richard riding as an individual for Great Britain. The piaffe passage, a real highlight, 72.812. Next into the arena, Christina Sprayer, the 12-year-old De Niro stallion, Desperados. Christina, 25 years of age. It was a fabulous test. The shoulder freedom of this horse, really expressive trot half passes. In the rein back, the first step could have been more diagonal, but he really did keep the weight on the hindquarters. The piaffe passage and transitions, very high quality. He keeps really uphill frame. He was really concentrated in the collected walk and extended walk, both of high quality. Great to see this level of relaxation coming after the difficult exercises of the first part of the test. Really beautiful training and expertly ridden by a young rider. Small blemish only, the change was late after the extended canter. The changes, flying changes uphill, a lot to like about this. Perhaps the right hind could be even a little stronger, but a score of 79.199, putting Christina at this point into the lead. Trained by Jürgen Koschel and, of course, the German team trainer Johnny Hilberath. They were followed into the arena by Princess Natalie, riding Digby, the 15-year-old Donegal gelding. A homebred horse, bred by Princess Natalie and her mother, Princess Benedicta of Denmark. So what a wonderful story. There was another competitor, an individual for Denmark, riding a homebred horse. It was characteristically reliable test, highlights in the piaffe passage and transitions, very good in the walk. It was a mistake-free test and a really great contribution to the Danish team result. The Danes now had their final team result, 73.84 the average. Only 3 riders contributed to the team result. We began with 10 teams. Unfortunately, Canada out of the running. Their second rider was eliminated. So our first result, Denmark, perhaps looking good for 4th place overall. They drew the first spot, so that's why at this stage we only have their final result. Followed into the arena by Ashley Holzer from Canada, riding the 11-year-old Dutch-bred gelding Breaking Dawn by Akabori. Ashley had 3 great tests 4 years ago in Beijing Olympics with Pop Art, another Dutch-bred horse. So a really experienced rider. Breaking Dawn, a young horse, fairly new to Grand Prix, really expressive front leg. Could be a little more over the back. Nonetheless, piaffe passage and transitions really pulled in the points today. Extended walk, collected walk looked good. Horse was very light in the hand. I particularly like the canter pirouette to the left. Unfortunately, the last piaffe on centre line, there was just a slight misunderstanding. Still, a score of 71.809. Then for the United States, as an individual rider, Adrienne Lyle, 27-year-old, trains with Debbie McDonald, riding the 13-year-old Weltmeier gelding Wizard. Her mother was a downhill skier for the United States Winter Olympics team. Adrienne did a great job. There was a small break in the first extended trot, and the horse could have been a little more over the back. Nonetheless, a really expressive front leg, and I think quite a highlight in the canter pirouettes left and right. A little bit of tension at times, including in the collected walk. Another individual rider into the arena, this time for Norway, Cyril Helgeson, riding the rather gorgeous Blue Horse Don Schufro mare, Dorino, a 10-year-old. So very correct test, lovely expressive mare, really engaged but expressive, half passes in trot, the rein back very correct. The piaffe could be a little more in the place, but nonetheless of good quality, and also the passage. Extended walk perhaps could be a little more active. Unfortunately, a small mistake, the transition passage to collected canter, but overall a good result, just under the 70%. So that was it, the first half completed. Team results, as I said, in for Denmark. Australia, first in after the break, Mary Hannah. We'll be looking forward to resuming shortly. Thank you.